We have a massive update to go over today as Shams Charania has dropped a bombshell trade report surrounding the Boston Celtics, and it is not surrounding who you think is following what has been a crazy 24 hours. Trade talks continue to escalate even after the Celtics made their first round pick yesterday. We're going to break down that new trade report, discuss what this means going forward, as Shams hint and teased something huge. But before you do it all, if you're part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Celtics content. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Your guys' support has been unbelievable. So thank you guys for that, folks. A lot to go over today. Obviously, Celtics made their acquisition yesterday in the form of a draft pick rather than a big trade or anything like that. They're still active on the trade market. It seems they're going to hold on to Jaylen Brown and Derrick White, at least for now, according to Brad Stevens. But again, things change on the fly. But someone that Brad Stevens didn't name in the press conference about the future of this team was Anthony Simons, and Shams Charania came out with a pretty big report here revealing that he may be out of Boston a lot sooner than many fans thought. You can see this here from Shams and from Shams Charania, including Evan Siddery, also made the same report. Obviously, we trust Shams more. Shams came out and said the Celtics are open to trading Anthony Simons. And if you actually listen to the report, I believe it was on the Pat McAfee show, wherever it was, he's basically said that the Celtics at this point seem to be more likely to keep Jaylen Brown and, of course, Derrick White. But Anthony Simons is a player that could end up getting moved once again to either, for compensation to clear off some more salary, but a lot of options here to move off of Anthony Simons. And this is a point now where we literally just acquired him, and I'm going to dive into the positives and negatives of him, of course, because there is some good things, there is some questionable options regarding, or some questionable reasons to potentially let him go because of the fit that he is and has on the Celtics, although they don't have much of a team right now, outside of a few guys. But looking at it here, Celtics are open to trading Anthony Simons. So this is very interesting and also stemmed from, a tweet yesterday. And I want to kind of dive into this with you guys and to let me know down below what your thoughts are. If the Celtics can aggregate now, which they can, does Brad Stevens package a Anthony Simons, Gorgas Niang for a different high salary player? So because of all the moves they made, we know they've shed a bunch of salary. They're still, in the luxury tax in the first apron, but they got out of the second apron. They are able to package, in theory, if they want to, Gorgas Niang and Anthony Simons for a bigger move or a different high salary player, rather, if you want to package the two. And this is kind of what's starting to become interesting now, is if they wanted to, again, all the talks have been about potentially trading Jaylen Brown, trading Derrick White, because that was, of course, ahead of yesterday's draft when teams were trying to move out of the lottery picks. The Raptors offered the 9th pick for Derrick White, offered the 5th pick for Jaylen Brown, all these different things the Jazz did. But you're at the point now where you can not only make a move for Anthony Simons, a clear salary, or you could aggregate him and Gorgas Niang, the two new acquisitions, and make a move for a bigger salary player, a higher salary player who is actually going to go out and maybe help your team compete and be a co-star alongside Jaylen Brown next year, and maybe even alongside Jayson Tatum into the future. And that's kind of where the interesting aspect of this comes in. You can see a report here from Airy Report. Again, take Airy Report with a grain of salt. He's got a lot of things right, but I'm sure he's gotten some things wrong as well. The Boston Celtics have had trade discussions regarding Sam Hauser, league sources tell me. Over the last 24 hours, Boston has executed 2 blockbuster trades. We know that. We'll have another video on Sam Hauser coming here soon, but he quote tweeted that and said another trade candidate for Boston is newly acquired Anthony Simons, league sources say. Celtics landed Simons in a deal with Portland, but it's possible he, along with Sam Hauser, could be moved, as both are being explored as potential avenues for further financial relief. So we know, again, financial relief has been the focal point of this offseason for the Boston Celtics. They've been trying to get rid of money, obviously, and they have. You look here, June 15th, they had $540 million in projected salary and luxury tax, and as of yesterday, they have $280 million in projected salary and luxury tax. So Brad Stevens has done his job, to a T. They got rid of Kristaps Porziņģis, they got rid of Jrue Holiday, both in the form of a very good moves, very responsible moves. Some people hate the Kristaps trade because you didn't get back much. You got back Gorgas Niang, essentially. It was a salary dump. The Jrue Holiday one, you got assets back rather than having to give up assets. So I think as a whole here, Brad Stevens did a great job. The question now becomes, how do they play next season? Because their team is a little bit bare bones. Obviously, you have Peyton Pritchard, you have Derrick White, you have Jaylen Brown, you have some other guys in there. You don't have a starting center at this point. Luke Kornet's a free agent. Al Horford's a free agent. Let's just assume, Neemias Queta, he could potentially be the one who ends up starting. But is that good enough? I don't think so. Obviously, Sam Hauser is probably going to get traded as well. Your bench is very thin. You have Xavier Tillman who can run some of the 5 and 4. The team is bare bones right now. Now, I think obviously they're going to make some signings, hopefully, or some sort of other moves. You do have Anthony Simons, you have Gorgas Niang, and those are guys who can play some minutes, assuming they keep them. But I think moving off of Anthony Simons is a very possible scenario. Now, there is some people, we can talk about the positives now. I'm not going to, hate on Anthony Simons. I think he is a very valuable player in the sense of he's a high-octane scorer. Now, he is not a good defender at all. He's one of the worst defenders in basketball, but you can see this here. Anthony Simons a way better return than what the Celtics were expected to get in a Jrue trade. 19.3 points per game in 2024-2025. Originally drafted in high school, still just 26. Scored 45 points at age 23. This is a guy that has second option potential. Brad Stevens cooked again. I disagree in some ways here, but I wanted to bring this up to see what you guys think. After having a few days now to digest this Anthony Simons trade, do you guys think it was a good deal, or do you guys think, I mean, obviously Jrue Holiday trade was a good deal objectively. You got Anthony Simons, but you also got 2 second-round picks. You got positive value for Jrue Holiday at the age, 35, owed $135 or $150 million, 145, 140, whatever, $100 million, right? Do you think that Anthony Simons has the potential to be what he, unicorn season considers a second option? I don't see it. If you talked to Blazers fans last year, a lot of them pointed to, even before the Anthony Simons, like before they got traded, a lot of them pointed to Anthony Simons as being one of the bigger problems with the team because the ball would get stuck. Anthony Simons would, chuck a lot. And again, these are words from Blazers fans, obviously. And he would be really bad defensively, a bit of a liability on, or really bad defensively, sorry, a bit of a liability on defense. He can score the ball, but I don't know if I would have second option potential written all over him. Will he potentially be forced into being the second option on this team? It is possible, depending on how much of a step Derrick White, Peyton Pritchard maybe even takes. Obviously, Jaylen Brown's the number 1 option. Derrick White used to being a role player, and I mean, he could play more. But the starting lineup right now consists of Derrick White, Anthony Simons, Jaylen Brown, Gorgas Niang, and Luke Kornet. And Luke Kornet is a pending free agent. Al Horford's a pending free agent. Sam Hauser's probably going to get traded. So you have then essentially no bench. You have Bailey Shireman and you have, Jordan Walsh, I guess, J.D. Davidson. Like, you don't want those guys playing significant minutes, at least not if you're trying to compete. And I think this is obviously going to be a retool, a bit of a gap here for the Celtics. You need a center desperately. You need to make some moves to make this team, resemble a basketball team more than, a full complete team. And you need a center. And I fully expect Brad Stevens, he's a genius GM. I fully expect him to figure this out. And that's why I think an Anthony Simons trade is on the horizon here, or at least possible, simply because of the fact that it makes almost more sense for them to move off of him, try to get some other assets, make the team more complete, open up some salary, get some more relief. I don't think they're done shedding salary. You can see here, again, Airy Reports reported it. It makes sense. Trading Sam Hauser seems to be on the horizon, if not imminent as well. So a lot of things are happening here. And let me know down below what kind of, asset would you want to get back for Anthony Simons? Like, probably some sort of pick, but again, it's super interesting because they just acquired him in a Jrue Holiday trade. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with all this. Tons of new reports are dropping, tons of new rumors, all those different things. We're going to keep you up to date with the latest. Also, one quick note, it has been confirmed. The Celtics plan to bring first-round pick Hugo Gonzalez over to the NBA. They are not stashing him, so it's going to be interesting to see how he also factors in, I guess, to the team as well, depending on how NBA ready they figure he is. Of course, I think he's more NBA ready than a lot of these prospects. He played for Real Madrid. But again, it's going to be a long-term development play. He's only 19 years old, so he probably doesn't factor into the team, next year. And again, he's a developmental project. I don't think he's necessarily more NBA ready than most of the other prospects, like I just mentioned. I guess I misspoke. He's going to be, has the potential to be a very solid NBA player, but it might take a little bit longer. But that'll wrap it up. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. Cheers.